So the first thing you're going to need to do is remove the AC lines at the rear evaporator. You are going to need a 13mm socket to unscrew the bolt. My AC lines were stuck to the evaporator, so it took me about an hour to wiggle the AC lines off. After you remove the AC lines, you're going to want to remove this trim piece. The main tool you'll be using is a T20 Torx socket. You're going to need to unscrew this latch on the right side. You're going to need to remove this upper trim. This trim piece also holds the seat belt for the third passenger in the rear seats. After you remove the covers, one on each side, you'll see a Phillips head. You're going to need to unscrew those. After that, you can finally remove this upper trim piece. You will need to unlatch the seatbelt if it is attached into this trim piece. After you do unlatch your seatbelt, you're going to need to pull down slightly on both sides. Next thing you're going to want to do is remove the right side seatbelts in the rear of the van. You're first going to need to take off this cover and take off the front cover to the front seatbelt. To remove the rear seatbelt, you're going to be using a 13/16 socket or a 21mm. Now both of these bolts are going to be on pretty tight, so I would suggest to use a breaker bar. For the front seatbelt, you're going to be using a T50 Torx bit. Make sure the socket is on straight or else you may strip or damage the bolt. This bolt was pretty tight because it has blue thread locker on it. Next thing you're going to want to do is remove this speaker trim piece. This speaker trim piece is held in by two plastic clips. After you remove the two clips, you should be able to remove this trim piece. Be careful when removing this trim piece if you have the speakers equipped, as you may damage the wiring. The connector has a little button on the top. After you take off this connector, you can remove the trim piece. This is what the connector looks like. You're going to need to remove this trim piece located by the passenger side sliding door. To remove this trim piece, you're going to need to lift it up and then pull it away from you. And then you're going to need to remove this trim piece by the window. To remove this trim piece, pull on it by where the window meets with this trim piece. Then remove the two Phillips head. Now you should be able to remove this big trim piece. The clips near the window for this trim piece didn't really want to come off. Don't be afraid to pull on this trim piece, it's pretty sturdy. This trim piece should be removed before taking off the big trim piece. I forgot to remove it before. After you unclip this trim piece, you can hide the front seatbelt behind it. After you hide the front seatbelt, you can pull on the rear seatbelt to get more access to the back. When people are testing for refrigerant leaks, I've seen a lot of people drill holes into the rear HVAC box. You can remove this resistor. Stick your refrigerant sniffer in there to test for a refrigerant leak. That resistor is located right by the evaporator. You're going to be using a 10mm socket to remove the HVAC box. Here are the locations where the 10mm bolts are. After you remove the 10mm bolts, you're going to need to remove this HVAC piping. After you remove this long HVAC pipe, you'll see coolant lines. Don't drain your coolant. You can do this without draining it. After you remove the HVAC piping, you're going to need to unclip this connector. After you unclip that connector, you should be able to remove the HVAC box. This part of the video is filmed with the new evaporator on. That's why it has the clear cover. That hole you see on the left side is where the water drains from the evaporator. You're going to want to make sure that it's cleaned out. The HVAC box is made of 3 pieces. This is the first piece you're going to need to take off. After you take that piece off, you're going to need to remove the fan and all these actuators and the resistors. The whole AC box is held in by T20 screws, and there's a lot, so make sure you unscrew all of them. As you can see, my HVAC box is lying near where the coolant lines are for the rear heater. After you unscrew all the T20 Torx, you should be able to pry on this box. It is held on by clips all around. After you remove the upper half of the box, you'll see the evaporator, the heater core, and 2 door flaps. Now I feel like you can take out the heater core to remove the box closer towards you. Inspect these blend doors as they tend to crack. Now you can install your new evaporator. The evaporator only goes on one way. If you flip it around, it won't sit correctly. After you install your new evaporator, don't forget to put the heater core back in. After you install back the upper half of the HVAC box, you can install your fan and the actuators. After you do all that, you're going to need to replace the O-rings at the AC lines. I will link in the description as to where I bought these O-rings. These are what the old and new O-rings look like. Don't forget to replace your Schrader valves, as they may be leaking.